What's going on, Falcons fans? Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, following Super Bowl 57 with the latest on your Atlanta Falcons. And it's a bit of a bombshell story. We're back on the Lamar Jackson trade rumors wagon because Ian Rapoport put out over the weekend a tweet with a link that said, could the Ravens trade quarterback Lamar Jackson after he receives the franchise tag? A windfall of draft picks could tempt Baltimore to consider a deal. Story from him, Tom Pelissero, and Mike Garafolo. And here we go. I mean, if you love the Atlanta Falcons Lamar Jackson trade rumors, you're going to be at the right channel all off season long. And if you don't like the idea of trading for Lamar, I got bad news for you. The Falcons appear to be very interested in doing so. Now, let's go right to the horse's mouth. Here's what Pelissero, Rapshi, and Garafolo said. But Jackson's desire for more fully guaranteed money in line with Deshaun Watson's 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract with the Browns has kept the sides from striking a deal, despite Baltimore making multiple offers near the top of the QB market in key metrics. If the sides don't come to terms on a long-term deal before the March 7th tag deadline, the likelihood is still that Jackson plays in Baltimore. Yet there are multiple ways Jackson could up playing elsewhere in 2023. It sounds like all the reports and indications are that Baltimore and Lamar Jackson are somewhere in the ballpark of $100 million apart on the guaranteed money. Now, the Ravens would be wise to find a way to come together and strike a deal. But the Ravens are a smart franchise, right? They've got their head on their shoulders, and they're not going to be held hostage by Lamar Jackson seeking that fully guaranteed contract that Deshaun Watson got. And since then, we've seen Kyler Murray, we've seen Russell Wilson strike big contracts, and neither of them were fully guaranteed. So it's not that the new status quo in the NFL is they must be fully guaranteed. Now, when it comes to Lamar Jackson and his stats, if you guys have watched the show before, you know where I stand. I believe this would be a good trade for Atlanta. Lamar Jackson is a superstar quarterback. He is an MVP. Yes, the last 2 years have not been ideal because of the late season injuries that have really ended the Ravens' start to the year. But we are talking about Lamar Jackson here. And I'd be hard-pressed to find any scout or GM that would take Desmond Ridder over Lamar Jackson. The draft picks are nice, don't get me wrong, and it would cost a king's ransom to get Lamar. And I can see the reservations people have of moving on from 3 first-round picks for Lamar. But at the end of the day, he's that type of player. He is worth 3 first-round picks, in my opinion, and we'll look at some projected trades that people have for Lamar. But let me ask you this. Will the Falcons trade for Lamar Jackson? Be honest with me here. Yes or no? Will it get done? It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if YouTube sticks an ad break when I'm done talking, take advantage of it. Get an answer down below. The truth is, whether you like it or not, the trade rumors aren't going anywhere. It sounds like the Falcons are going to be the top destination for Lamar Jackson if a trade cannot be agreed upon. Because when we run through the QB-needy teams, sounds like the Jets are really trying to hitch their wagon to Aaron Rodgers. The Saints look like they're zeroing in on Derek Carr. And all of a sudden, it feels like the Falcons are the last team who I don't think are in that exact boat of a QB-needy team. But I don't think after 4 games they are married to Desmond Ridder. They didn't draft him in the first round. They don't have big financial ties to him. So for that reason, they'll definitely explore their options for Lamar Jackson. Now, a publication from USA Today for the Win linked the Falcons to Lamar, and they are not the first ones, and they're not going to be the last ones to do so. But I do want to share with you guys what they put in their article. Here's what writer Cory Woodruff wrote. The team isn't necessarily settled on Ridder as its de facto starter this fall. They have about $56 million in cap space and can create more space with moves like cutting bench quarterback Marcus Mariota. Some word has emerged that the Falcons might not want to take on Jackson's likely massive contract after finally getting out of cap hell. However, the team's ill-conceived pursuit of Deshaun Watson last spring shows an aggressive streak from owner Arthur Blank. So, if I think about 3 reasons why this could happen, the first one is Atlanta's got the money to spend. Fontenot said at his end-of-the-year presser that they are in a spot in their offseason or in their rebuild plan to go out and spend money. And what better spot to spend money than at a proven quarterback? Also, like Cory pointed out, they're definitely fine with trading a lot and paying a lot for a quarterback, CC Deshaun Watson. I also believe, for good reason, they're not sold on Ridder. We have seen teams move on from quarterbacks quicker because Desmond Ridder had a very strong 4-game performance at the end of the year where he improved week in and week out. But does anyone walk away from those 4 games thinking that's the guy? Really? I don't. And I think if you can find an upgrade, which Lamar Jackson is in my book, you pursue it. Now, Arthur Blank, he wants to win a Super Bowl. He's kind of entering that Jerry Jones stage now where he's getting a bit older, and he might go all in, right? He might go make a big move so that he can see a Super Bowl before you know what. So he's in a win-now mode, in my opinion, okay? And if Lamar Jackson is attainable, he'll say, F them pecs. I'll pay whatever he wants. I'll guarantee the contract. If they're losing out on Deshaun Watson last offseason, he might be more desperate this offseason to get a legit quarterback. Now, before we get to the rest of today's show, make sure to join the best Falcons YouTube channel out there for all offseason news and rumors. It's interesting that when the offseason rolls around, a lot of other spots kind of take their foot off the gas. I guess we put our pedal to the metal even more here, which is why you got to subscribe if you haven't already. Another reason why I think a trade could go down is that the NFC South is going to suck next year. Let's be honest. Look at the 6 quarterbacks currently rostered. There's just one in New Orleans, Jameis Winston, who was somewhat, you could say, benched last year for Andy Dalton once Winston got healthy. Kyle Trask, reports out of Tampa Bay is they don't have a lot of faith in him. Not really picking on very quickly. And that's a second-round pick. Matt Corral, I'm not really sure what to make of what Carolina's QB room is. They drafted him last year. He'll be in the competition this year. With who? Beats me. Jacob Eason, he sucks. Marcus Mariota, he's going to get cut. And that leaves Ridder. There's really no starting quarterback outside of Desmond Ridder in the entire group right there. So in my opinion, the NFC South might/will be the worst division in football next year. And as a result, man, Arthur Blankenship and Fontenot might sit down and go, this was a bad division last year. Let's be honest. It could get worse without Brady there. So we might see in a window, we might see an opportunity to go out and get Lamar Jackson, be a better football team as a result, but also not be in this really brutal division where instead we could win some games, win the division, host a playoff game, and once you're in the dance and you're hosting the first round game, you're 1 win away from going on a bit of a run. Anything's possible once you make the playoffs, especially if you are a home team in the first round because you win a garbage division and you could really foreseeably dominate it the next couple of years. While everyone else is scrambling looking for their next quarterback, you could have Lamar Jackson. The depth chart, by the way, in Atlanta, like I was just kind of getting at, it's somewhat the best, actually, in the NFC South for quarterbacks, which is bizarre to say, but it's really just going to be Ridder next year. Plus, well, you know, Ridder and someone. I mean, Mariota's not coming back, right? There's just no way they bring him back after he was a healthy scratch pretty much the last month plus of the year. So my question is, and the big question that everyone in Flowery Branch are asking themselves right now is this team sold on Desmond Ridder, right? That's where this has to really start. If they believe they've got someone in Desmond Ridder, then you keep those draft picks. You use them to build around Ridder. You use them to trade to get wide receivers. But if they don't think Ridder is the guy, because you ask at former NFL players, how quickly do you know if your quarterback's it? Some say they know in training camp their rookie season. Some say, look at Josh Allen. Look at the jump he made after his rookie and sophomore season. It's still early for Desmond Ridder, no doubt about it. But we're talking about Lamar Jackson here. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I like Ridder, but not as much as I think I like Lamar Jackson. Now, For the Win came out with a trade idea. So this is their trade idea I wanted to share with you guys here. And that is the Falcons get Lamar Jackson. Baltimore receives this year's first and third round pick, so Atlanta would keep their second. next year's first and third, and 2025 first. That's 3 first-round picks and 2 thirds. For reference, Russell Wilson went for 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Deshaun Watson went for 3 firsts, a third, and some change. So this is somewhere in the middle, if you ask me. But would you make this trade? A for accept or D for decline? Let me know in the comments section below if you were Fontenot and this was the offer, what you would do. Now, before we move on to the rest of the show, there's an awesome deal right now at Fanatics, but it's not going to last forever, and that is this awesome Falcons crew neck on sale when you go to chatsports.com/Falcons crew. I put that link for everyone in the comments and the description of today's show. Get it today so you got some awesome Falcons gear to wear this month. Let's talk about another team in the NFC South. That's the New Orleans Saints, who appear to be closing/zeroing in on Derek Carr. He is not getting traded. Derek Carr, when he signed his extension with Las Vegas last offseason, put a no-trade clause in there. So he's kind of screwing the Raiders over by invoking it so that Vegas can't get anything for him, and they have to cut him very soon. Maybe by the time you're watching this, he's already been cut, but he's not accepting a trade, so that means the Raiders have to cut him, and they don't want to eat the $40 million cap hit he has this year. So with that being said, it is still possible that Derek Carr ends up in New Orleans. He had a visit with the Saints not long ago, and he's not waiving his no-trade clause for them, but maybe he decided, I want to go to New Orleans. So let me help my new team out by not waiving my no-trade clause, forcing the Raiders to release me, not get a draft pick for me, and therefore, when I get to New Orleans, they're not short a draft pick because they had to acquire me. So, the Saints are still interested in D.C. According to Rap Sheet, he hopped on the Pat McAfee show as he does every Monday. So, keep an eye on this one. Now, I'm not a big Derek Carr guy. I've never been super high on him. If you do the blind quarterback resume, he kind of makes me look pretty dumb for saying that. I mean, he's had some really good years. Look at that, 3 straight years, over 4,000 yards. 20-plus touchdowns, 2 seasons with less than 10 interceptions. But last year wasn't really ideal, and they're looking to just move a different direction. But be honest with me here. Does Derek Carr going to the Saints scare you at all? Type S for scared, type C for calm. I couldn't be more calm. I think Derek Carr's cheeks, personally. So if he goes to the Saints, welcome to the Big Easy. Look forward to playing you twice a year, and look forward to Saints fans kind of becoming the new Raiders fans of like, do we like or hate Derek Carr? I have no idea. It's a toxic relationship. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, making us a part of your day. We'll sign off and see you all later with more Falcons news and rumors.